the governor of Washington State, Governor Jay Inslee. I want to thank my dear friend, my classmate, Craig Gordon. And I want to acknowledge some other folks from the area that I've served with, Representative Al Williams of Hinesville, Representative Vicki Stevens of Savannah, and Senator Lester Jackson of Savannah. And I know you heard it before, but I figure it's always important to introduce yourself. My name is Stacy Abrams, and I'm here to next governor. Decide to run. And often people can tell you a story about the day they decided they were going to stand for this office, but I'm not going to tell you that story. I'm going to tell you the story about the day that I realized somebody needed to have this office. Because you see, when I was in high school, I moved with my parents and my five brothers and sisters. We moved from Mississippi to Georgia. I like to say I'm Mississippi raised, but Georgia grown. And in Mississippi, my mother and father, my mom was a librarian, my dad was a shipyard worker, but they were working poor because the ILA was an important part, but we were on hard times a lot of the time. And so when my parents were called into the ministry, when they decided they weren't poor enough, we're just going to be permanently poor and become Methodist ministers, they wanted us to understand how important education was. So my parents both applied to Emory University at the age of 40, were both admitted, and both moved us to Georgia so they could go to graduate school. So I watched my parents go to school full-time, work full-time, raise 6 children full-time. I don't get to complain about being tired ever in my life. But they also raised me to understand that I had 3 jobs: go to church, go to school, and take care of each other. Go to church because they wanted us to be grounded in a moral center, to have a framework for who we were going to be. They told us to go to school because they knew education was transformative, because you can lose your house and you can lose your job, but they can take your car, but nobody can take what's in your mind. And they told us that they take care of each other, not just your brothers and sisters, but take care of the world around you, because my mom would say no matter how little we have, there's someone with less. Your job is to serve that person. My dad was a little less patient. He would just say having nothing is not an excuse for doing nothing. And so when my parents brought us to Georgia, I came with the values that grew deep when I got here. But when I was a senior in high school, I finished my education at Avondale High School in DeKalb County, and I graduated as valedictorian of my high school. When you're valedictorian in Georgia, one of the perks, Governor Inslee, is that you get invited to meet the governor of Georgia. So no matter where you live in the state, you get invited to the governor's mansion. Now, I was mildly interested in meeting the occupant of the governor's mansion. I was very interested in the building. I watched a lot of General Hospital and Dynasty as a child. And I wanted to see a mansion from the inside out. And so that morning, my mother and my father and me, we got up and we went outside, and we got not in our car because my parents didn't have a car, we couldn't afford one. Instead, we got on MARTA, on our public transit system. And we took that MARTA bus from Decatur all the way to West Paces Ferry. You know that space where they have the governor's mansion, where those long black gates run the length of the property. Yeah. We took the bus and we got off and we walked across the street. And we walked up the driveway, walking along the side, because everyone else that day was arriving in cars. Nice cars and not so nice cars, and something that I guess was a car, but they were all in private vehicles. But my family, we were on MARTA. And so we got to the guard station to check in. The guard came out to meet us, but he didn't ask my mother for the invitation that was in her purse. He didn't look at the checklist that was in his hands. He looked at me and my parents and said, "This is a private event, you don't belong here." My dad said, "No, this is my daughter Stacy. She's one of the valedictorians." But the guard didn't listen to my father. He didn't check and see if maybe we were telling the truth. Instead, I remember clear as day him looking over my shoulder at the MARTA bus that was pulling away from the curb, a bus that had working families on it, a bus that had mechanics and barbers and some salon folks, some domestic workers, people who had to take MARTA to get around. And when he looked at that bus, he did not see anyone who belonged in the governor's mansion. But he didn't keep it to himself, because he turned around with a sneer of disparagement and he looked at me and my parents and he said, I told you this is a private event, you don't belong here. Now I was ready to believe him, I was ready to run and try to catch that bus. But my mother had my arm in a death grip. And my parents wanted me to understand you don't let anybody tell you who you are. Who would one day become United Methodist ministers, showed me that day they weren't pastors quite yet. Because they had a very vigorous and engaged discussion with this gentleman about his decision-making skills. They wanted him to understand that his choices in life were not the right ones. My father may have mentioned he was going to spend eternity in a very hot place if he didn't figure something out. And so after a while, the security guard let us inside. He found my name on that checklist at the top, and he said we could go in. But the thing of it is, I do not remember meeting the governor of Georgia. I do not recall meeting my fellow valedictorians from 180 school districts, 159 counties. The only thing I remember about that day was a man standing in front of the most powerful place in Georgia, looking at me and telling me I don't belong. But Savannah, on November 6th, we're going to open their heads wide in the state of Georgia. No one is going to tell us we don't belong.